Our first presenter is Charlie Dykeman Caswell. A resident of Kensington, Maryland, Charlie joined SSFS as a second grader back in 2009. This fall, Charlie plans to attend Middlebury College in Vermont. A talented photographer with a gifted eye and creative soul, it's not surprising that Charlie sees a potential future in photojournalism. When pressed for a fun fact, Charlie shared, "I've never been stung by a bee or wasp, and with murder hornets now on the loose in North America, I hope it stays that way." He added that his senior project is dedicated to my parents who have supported me and helped me grow throughout my upper school career and beyond. Charlie, please feel free to screen share your presentation at this time. The stage is yours, friend.
Thank you, Eduardo. Good evening, friends. My name is Charlie Dykeman Caswell, class of 2020, and it is my honor to initiate the Sandy Spring Friends School Senior Projects Program, an event which I hope will become a long-standing tradition. Today, I will be presenting my senior project, The Selfless and Free, a commemorative compendium of service. But I would first like to give some background information on myself. My path to volunteerism began in the 8th grade on a summer trip to Montana. We were tasked with maintaining trails in Glacier National Park, but I'll admit we got about as much work done as you'd expect from a bunch of 8th graders. Nonetheless, the experience opened my eyes to the fun side of service, and more service followed. In 9th grade, we spent intercession in the Florida Keys, collecting trash and working to depollute their ecosystems. I traveled to West Virginia in 10th, working with the Big Ugly Community Center and the poverty-stricken town of Logan. 2 consecutive trips to Puerto Rico connected me to a new community in ways which I couldn't have foreseen. We shoveled cement in the sweltering heat, building new roofs for people who welcomed us like family. I began to look for new ways to serve my community and others. I stopped counting my service hours. All the while, I explored another category, photography. I've been a self-taught photographer since the age of 7, and I've recently had many opportunities to advance my skill set. The photo on the right is of Prince's cloud guitar, which I photographed as part of an internship at the Smithsonian's National Museum of American History this past summer. And now onto my project. We begin with the premise. In creating this book, I want to achieve 3 distinct things: to capture the selfless nature of volunteers, to inspire those who may be considering to volunteer in the future, and to help understand why people volunteer. My project was inspired by Angel, a man with an astounding personality and a selfless spirit. In his 16 years working with Global Works, he never accepted payment. He became a leadership figure in his Villa del Rio community, especially after the devastation brought by Hurricane Maria in 2017. After years of work to rebuild his community, he finally gave in and began to reconstruct his own house with the help of a few willing Sandy Springers. His passion for helping others and my takeaways from working with him are recorded in the prologue to my book, Selflessness and Freedom, which you'll see later on. Before the chaos brought by the COVID-19 outbreak, I had all but finished a plan for my project. I'd visit various volunteer organizations, spend the day working and getting to know the volunteers, and sitting down for interviews with participants. My photography would be incorporated through personalized portraits of those I interviewed. And with myself feeling uncharacteristically organized, the project seemed as though it was going to come together really cleanly, or so I thought. The coronavirus wrought havoc across the country, and with it came unexpected complications for the creation of selflessness and freedom. I pivoted my plans. Organizations were contacted, participants were interviewed over the phone, and I found new ways to incorporate my photography. The book begins with a prologue written with the help of Michelle Lintner, who was a great resource throughout my project. Along with my writing, I include illustrations and quotes which speak to me. The stories of those I interviewed are scattered throughout Selflessness and Freedom, telling of their own paths to volunteer work and their perspectives on service. Such stories include that of Lauren Semenyuk, who joined the Humane Rescue Alliance 12 years ago, and has since founded the Bowie Claw, a similar organization in our own community. Steve Debrecht, whose work with MANA has not slowed, as he speaks of the resourcefulness and personal benefits of working with a nonprofit. And Hannah Nittig, a junior in high school whose volunteer and activism experience far surpasses that of most her age, ushering in a new generation of leaders. The next segment of my project finished only this past week. Jubilee is a Maryland-based organization which, quote, provides the highest quality community-based residential services and supports for adults who have developmental disabilities. By connecting with their communications manager, I was able to organize portrait sessions with multiple families and their caretakers. The first who I photographed were Ben and Mary Jo, a sweet couple in the Rockville area. Next came Brandon, an excitable young man, with his caretaker Patrice. Cece, another caretaker, and Malone with his caretaker Lamin. Finally, a third segment of Selflessness and Freedom was completed. I reached out to my local community in Kensington to find any volunteer who would be willing to have their portrait taken. Using only natural light, a $30 backdrop from Amazon, and some light bouncers borrowed from a friend, I got surprisingly solid results. The following photos are just a few of the portraits which I took in my community of service. Their service experience ranges anywhere from community gardening to mayor. Deborah works with Smart Sacks to deliver food to students in need, whose access to the program has been restricted by the coronavirus. Joe helps to organize service opportunities in the village of Kensington. Sheila holds a volunteer position at the Noyce Children's Library across from my house. Cindy tends to the nearby gardens without pay. Allison, a master gardener, works alongside Cindy. And Mayor Tracy Furman, who plays a role in most service events in Kensington, also reached out to me. Throughout my project, my eyes were open to the many aspects of volunteerism. I became more comfortable with the art of portraiture, with the impossible task of capturing the spirit of each subject in a single frame. The necessity of others and that which links the giver to the recipient taught me a valuable lesson about human nature. In the coming months, I hope to finalize this project and create a cohesive book which effectively conveys my message. Selflessness and Freedom will be available to view and purchase through my photography website in September. Now, more than ever, we need to give. Look around ourselves, and it seems that our country has become infiltrated by injustice, oppression, and hatred. Look within ourselves, and that is where we will find light. In these difficult times, service has become an indispensable part of our human experience. Without it, we lack the integrity which holds our global community together. Now is no time for inaction. Please donate to benevolent organizations, such as those associated with the Black Lives Matter movement. It is only when we can celebrate our differences and come together as a collective that we can build a brighter future. Thank you for your time and attention this evening, and special thanks to Sandy Spring Friends School, Eduardo Polon, and the Senior Projects Committee for giving me this platform.